This world is crazy. So, do you think we're going to have a economic collapse or not in 2023? I'll give you my opinion. I have one.
I think we're headed into a deep recession, man. Like, dude, layoffs have already started, like all over Silicon Valley right now, all over. And the thing is, people think, oh, well, what does a layoff in Silicon Valley have to do with me? And it's like, no, that's not the case. What ends up happening
Trickles
is
down.
that, yeah, all of that stuff trickles down. Anywhere you look right now, like people are buying services and goods. So when you have layoffs, especially in certain communities, where a majority of the employer is, let's say, from one or two companies, what ends up happening is that has a really bad trickle down effect to all the people that rely on providing services to that specific company in the area. So here's an example, like in New York City, dude, if banking goes down, it's not just banking that goes down. The hotel
Everything.
industry goes down, the rentals industry goes down, all the restaurants that cater to all these rich bankers, that goes down, right? And it just creates like a tsunami of economic impact. And I think that's one of those things that I hopefully the Fed gets a little bit like cautious of and pivots a little bit. I'm not saying that they need to completely stop because inflation really is a problem, but it's has to also come from like the policies on the federal government side, which, believe it or not, is stupid. Like the federal government right now should be doing everything in its power to boost up energy production because that's majority of the inflation right now. Like if gas prices are $4 or $5 a gallon, most people still drive still drive gas cars, right? What ends up happening is all your stuff that you're getting, all the services, goods, everything is all relying on energy costs. So you want to reduce down inflation? Dude, the first thing you should do is figure out how you produce more energy so that the price of gasoline and all the other diesel and everything else goes down. So that this way, the end products and services also go down. So now you can control inflation that way. You can't just, on one hand, raise inflation to kill demand, but at the same time, still have like student loan forgiveness and all these carve outs and caveats where government is nonstop spending money. Like, I don't know.
So, I agree with you 100% about the gas. I thought we could have gotten inflation down. I thought we were going to keep raising interest rates, by 50 basis points, then 25, like in the next ones, which I don't think is going to happen. And then second half of 2023 was going to start being a recovery, maybe start lowering interest rates a little bit or being a neutral, whatever. But now I push this 6 months forward. So instead of mid 23, at the end of 23 at the best, following 24, obviously. And one of the main reasons is exactly what you just said. The only reason inflation started to get under control, and what I mean under control is not going through the roof anymore, like starting to get some, is because gas started going down. However,
Yeah.
Biden shot his load with the petroleum reserves. Good try. And then OPEC is in November is when the reduction is going to start, and real reduction is going to be somewhere around 1 million barrels, not two, but they're not going to be producing the maximum, even if they needed to. So that 2 million can actually be capped at one point. Uh, After elections, Republicans, if they get elected, are not going to give a fizzle. Democrats are reelected, they're not going to give a fizzle. We screwed. These, these gas prices are going to go through the freaking roof. And I have a feeling there's going to be an entire economic collapse, like you just said, a deep recession, borderline depression. I don't even know how the hell our GDP numbers came out positive this quarter. Like, I have no idea.
I could tell you how. Mostly just pent up like spending that a lot of people kind of like the consumer right now is in a very healthy position. So there's still a lot of savings, a lot of areas where there was money still sloshing around, right? But I think this is one of the last hurrahs that we're getting of that because if you look at all the numbers that like Google and everything else are putting, remember all these numbers are backward looking, right? They're not forward looking, they're backward looking. If you're looking at forward economic indicators, you're seeing all the layoffs. You're seeing Google stock price tank because they're missing earnings. Facebook is missing earnings. Amazon is missing earnings. Look at that. Like all the kings of FANG are down right now. What does that tell you? That's the market saying, hey, look, the next 6 months are going to be rough. The market is always forward looking, not backward looking. These numbers are backward looking. So I would say that the Fed has the opportunity right now to arrest this decline relatively. They have a very small window where they can actually make some impact, but at the same time, the federal government has to step in and also make some impactful changes, whether that means, cutting back on some of the spending, because without that, it's not going to happen. Cutting back on some of the COVID era programs that they had just created, and also some of the regulations that they created around COVID, like housing moratoriums and everything else. Like, how far are you going to kick this can down the road before you say to yourself, "Hey, listen, we're going to have to deal with the fallout of this thing," So
Yeah, that I got hit so bad with that, and I got hit so bad with that moratorium. It screwed me. It screwed people doing the right thing. I'm the best landlord in the freaking world. Like seriously, I'm the best, and
mhm.
I got screwed. For me personally, I am getting rid of this property right now in Jersey. I am waiting approximately 1 year, give or take 9 to 15 months, and I am working to buy portfolio in Florida, but not like Miami, like more rural Florida. And that's the plan at the end. I'm actually going to do it with a couple of my subscribers that are doing real estate there. That's my plan, personal plan.
Nice.
Yeah. But I'm looking at the national debt right now, 31 trillion, 240 billion. When I first started doing this channel, that national debt was 30 trillion and like, I think it was like 200 billion, bro. It was like 30 trillion something. It literally went up 1 freaking trillion in the last year. Like 1 freaking trillion in a year. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the government's it's funny. I was talking to somebody about this, and it was so weird because it was like the government has to break shit to fix it, right? Like they can't just leave shit alone if it's working. And I think this is one of those things that they've created a problem. Now all of a sudden they're gonna try to figure out how to fix it after everything falls apart. But it's like, dude, if y'all hadn't just been stupid about your spending, you wouldn't have to fix this problem.
Chris,
Uh,
check this out. The
Yeah.
U.S. federal spending, actual 6 trillion. The U.S. federal budget deficit, 1 trillion,
Yeah, and
100
it's
billion.
yeah, and it's gonna keep growing because now if you look at the interest rates, the interest rates have climbed. So now you have interest that you have to pay on $31 trillion. It's not gonna be easy, that's for sure. The other thing is we're if you look at it from another perspective, usually
We are
GDP, like
broke.
if your economy is growing faster than your debt, you're fine. I wouldn't say we're broke. I mean, at the end of the day, we're still better off than a lot of countries that are out there. Like we're still the kings of innovation, which is probably the only thing that's saving our butts. But at the same time, how long is that going to last? Like I don't know.
You ever heard of the milkshake theory?
No.
So the milkshake theory essentially says that as the rest of the world is doing bad and the whole world is doing bad, people are going to flee to safety, and the US dollar is the safety, right? Is the best of the worst.
Mhm.
And the milkshake theory says that eventually the best of the worst also falls. And when that best of the worst collapse, that's a freaking
I just want to let people
problem.
know I have a shit ton of land in India. Like I have like hereditary land in India. Like my dad, for some reason, he never like bro, I lived in a one bedroom apartment with my parents and my brother for like ever. Because my dad was always like, "No, no, we are not going to stay here forever. You will see one day we will move back." And I'm like, "Dad, could I please just have my own room? Like hook me up, brother." He's like, "No, I'm buying land in India." And like, bro, the land in India is gone like 10x. Like I'll grant him. Like when he told me that buying land and shit in 2008, I was like, this dude's crazy, man. But
And it was
he
cheap,
did it.
right?
Oh, dude, he got it super cheap compared to what the prices are now. They're building like India right now is growing like China was in
I
1990s and
heard.
early 2000s. Like they're building a semiconductor factory in like near where our ancestral home is. And India is just developing like crazy right now. So my dad's in India right now, by the way, and he calls me like, look at their development. He's just showing me like a road. Like, bro, we've got roads everywhere. Like, this is not a big thing. It's like you don't understand. Roads are important for economy. I was like, all right, Dad, I get it. Cool.
So what are you going to do, bro? You're going to build a Taj Mahal?
Nah, bro, I'm just saying I got a backup plan. If you need
I,
a place to stay when America collapses, you got a brother in India come through.
I
You know.
appreciate that, bro. I would. You don't know. But
Yo, bro, I'll get you some chicken tikka masala, some butter chicken, whatever you want. We
yo,
got
Indian
this.
food is delicious, guys. I
Yeah,
love Indian food. Indian food, Thai food, bro. Those curries is delicious. But yeah, Indian food is delicious. And I'm
yeah.
vegetarian, so I pescatarian, so I eat tons of options over there. Um, but hopefully this comes back. Hopefully the stock market comes back, crypto market. Bro, I sold out of mad stocks. I sold out of a lot of positions that were not core positions.
Mhm.
I was I was so wary about it. I sold out of like half my Tesla. I was so happy I did that too. Uh, my Microsoft and Google and Nvidia at the end and Unity. And even though I took hits, I was able to save tens of thousands by selling, just like a month
Mhm.
ago. It's insane. And my
Yeah.
subs were telling me that. They're like, Adam, sell, 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 sell. I was like, oh man, I don't want to. Let me sell. It's a
I
crazy
think
world.
we're definitely in a difficult time right now, but it's opportunities like this where you can make a ton of money if you're able to weather the storm, right? But it depends. You have to know yourself. Like if you're one of those people that like will sell too fast or sell too like or buy in too much, pace yourself. Like one of the reasons why Palantir wasn't as big of a hit on me that was for a lot of people is because I never went all in on Palantir. No matter how great I thought the company was and it was doing, I never went all in. I was always dollar cost averaging, dollar cost averaging. And because of that
Yeah.
dollar cost averaging, eventually I got to the point where I made enough to not be like in a big loss in just a small loss. And then I was also options trading on the side to like selling some covered calls, which helped me manage my risk. And that's what dollar cost averaging does. So like right now, I'm looking at Meta, right? Like Facebook. I am I'm debating whether or not I should start DCing into a position in Meta because I'm hearing a lot of good things, but at the same time, like I still want to see some numbers. I still want to, dude. I'm at a point in my life where I've taken my licks, so I'm a lot more cautious than some of the people. Some of the people are still very like, I just need to go all in on this one company and everything's gonna be great. Like I'll end up being a Tesla millionaire. Like, bro, the whole Tesla thing. Congrats to anyone who had Tesla, y'all did really well, but that's like a 1 in 1,000 shot. You got better shot at winning what do you call it?
Lotto.
Winning the lotto than you do of getting one company right with all in, with an all in bet. It's just
Yeah. I'm planning to go in like my guys. I do some options too. My guys are doing options too, and I'm like, yo, I'm just sitting out for 6 months. I'm cut. Once you tell yourself I'm sitting out for a while, and I don't mean sitting out like I sold everything. I'm saying right now I'm chilling. I held my crypto positions. I held my stock positions that I'm very adamant about, and there's less stress on your head. I'm like, should I buy
yeah.
something? Nah, I'm sitting out for 6 months. I'm not worried.
I'm in my 30s and I got grays. That's from the stock market, dude. Yeah,
Bro,
I know.
you
Yeah, that's right. We're not old guys like, oh my God, like you remember the 90s when we used to blah blah. Like, nah, bro, I was a kid in the 90s. You know,
bro, this is a brutal game, but I've learned more taking licks right now than anything else,
mhm.
So you gotta go with it, and hopefully you're gonna be a much better investor now than later than you are now,
Here's a
right?
question. What industry are you super bullish on going into like looking at 2030?